perspective, and then what you and I now need to do is we need to sit down and sort of
Listening.
work out. There are some themes which I thought you summed up really well, actually, because you sort of said there's the theme that Alexander's into is the sustainability. We've obviously got the banking, we can't get away from that. We've obviously got the automobile. But I think the bottom line is there's sort of medical and there's other things that we can talk about. Yeah. So I think to get our sectors right and working on it is good. And then, we'll have to see how, because what we can't do is everything wrong. The trick is to sort of, keep everybody enthused, but then obviously hone down on very specific ones. Otherwise, we'll run around doing a lot of work and not making much money. So that's because some of those things are like, the manufacturing one. Those are really big projects. I mean, you have to have massive teams working on all the SKUs and all the factories and all the data and all the rest of it. So they're massive projects. So we've just got to look at what we can do. But no, I thought it was good. I thought you managed it really well. I think there's good team spirit coming up there. I think there's a good crossover, fertilization of ideas, which people can carry on, afterwards. But hopefully, it will all evolve around, AI technology. Yeah.
No, definitely. Thank you. I think you've been there. I think, like I said, now I think from where we start, I think this week is really kind of everyone is participating, right?
Yeah.
I just cannot step back, but I think the next week will be even kind of, I completely switch off. And then I think naturally I didn't anticipate that actually people are so engaging. Like Tassos is mentioning something interesting. Amy picked up something, and actually Simon picked up something. I think it's really good that innovation is kind of, incubation of ideas is happening, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
of course, everybody's getting a benefit from that. And you're being the guy who's instigating it. So it's really good for AI and the building of that is good. So I thought it went very well, actually. Some really interesting people there, Raj. So you collected some really good people, so that's great. Yeah.
I think this will evolve every time, I think, because we need that intelligent people, Neil, for sure. Because that lady Swati, I think I haven't introduced you formally. She's really doing a very great research on the explainable AI side. I think because obviously she's doing academic PhD and doing the postdoctoral research, I think, right? She's happy to join us. And obviously, being an academic, she's spending a lot of time on research, right? We need to take her time carefully. Like an example, she doesn't have much time, I guess. So as long as she leads the explainable AI research, which is what I mentioned in the call, that someone like, anyone can able to, like a junior, a PhD or someone else can able to do the work. I think that way, at least, she feels, that, she's still continuing her job, like, research, and also we can do some work, right?
Yeah.
And I think
I think there's a rich nucleus of people there, and Tossas is another guy who's quite enthusiastic about this group and stuff. So I think he's a good find.
Yeah.
I thought the medical guy, the surgeon, the cardiothoracic surgeon,
Julia,
he's a good guy. So no, I think it's a good team. Obviously, we've got to work hard, and we've got to convert these things into projects, and obviously earning income for everybody. That's the key.
And
but it's a good start. I mean, to get a rhythm going, and some weeks maybe we just take a sector, so it's not everybody; it's just a few people. So do you know what I mean? We can we don't have to bring everybody in every week for an hour. We can choose different projects. But the most important thing is keeping continuity.
Yeah, and also engagement, right? And I just spoke to Tassos as well just before the call. And I did also ask him, obviously it will be really great to have him on board, because I asked him, do you see any conflict of interest at all actually from engaging from academic to us? He says no. And he says he's got a personal interest actually in the research. I said, you can perhaps lead our research function in our business. That could be one area, like I mentioned to you, that explainable AI would be one, computer vision will be one, fake news will be one. And he naturally can be an extension of your academic career, right? And Neil, you okay? Neil?
You there?
Yeah, I see. I think it's connection thing. I think. So I think I don't know if you hear me.
I think that I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yes, now it's good.
Can you hear me?
Now it's good.
Yeah. So I think that's a good idea. I think he's a good guy, and I think he will I think he would be a good guy to get involved. So you should follow that one up a little bit if we can.
And I spoke to him, and when I spoke to him, he said, let's start speaking actually in July or something, when the lockdown is kind of a little bit restricted, so that we're a little bit freed up, and then we can able to propose and give an honorary position for him in the business, like, research or maybe some options also for him. I don't think he's after the money, because he's a guy who is naturally kind of inclined to do research and technology. That is his passion, right?
Yeah.
We need to connect. Obviously, you work at UCL. You see a lot of professors are like that, right? So.
No. Because they've obviously got work anyway. But what will happen, of course, is the education industry will come under a bit of pressure, I think, for them to find the people people to go to the university. So I think it's going to get a little bit tougher. But what he's clearly, if he pulls off these projects that we put the bid together for, then he's earned his keep. Just making sure all that comes through. So that's the important thing.
Yes, of course. We'll have. I think that's what I think. We need to keep this research completely we need to structure it differently so that we don't distract from the main business. People will do research on it. Someone will have a responsibility, and then they will feed us every week what's going on. And also we can take necessary steps actually to be having a business so that we can play around. If not, then that research itself is actually, that is where the innovation, the intellectual property, Neil, that we can do patents there. We can do some, that is the biggest ideas, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, we do that. Yeah, we need to do that. And then that's why when we spoke a long time ago, we need a lawyer, which we've now found, who can make sure everything is
the lawyer you
patented and all the rest. So because again, we need to protect ourselves a little bit if we can.
Got it.
But that's good. But no, I thought it was good. It's an innovation session. It's a good way of cross-fertilizing. And actually, to be fair, you've got yourself in the right place because you quite enjoy it, and you've gathered everybody. Yeah. So actually, it works around you, which is great. And what we then need to do is then, decide which of the tasks we're going to do, and then each week we can bring a particular product to the market. What I'm interested in is I'd really like to get from Alexander what products he thinks he can develop in his space that he's very keen on, which is obviously the environmental space. Yeah. So I think we need to try and get everybody focused down on how AI can improve it, and then obviously that can have an impact on business for the company as it stands at the moment. Yeah. And the other thing is not to lose sight of the fact that we are combining different silos of data in a way that gives a dashboard that gives sentiment and balance to decision making for the human intelligence. So we've got to be clear that we don't get caught up in projects that are going down a road that doesn't fit with our philosophy. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to grapple with in those few thoughts that I'm putting down on paper at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We're not going to be briefly loyal to it. If it starts to move in another direction, we'll move. But we've got to be clear what it is we're doing. Otherwise, we could do everything, couldn't we? Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing we've got to home in on. But anyway, listen, I've got lots of ideas today because now we've got sectors. So I'm now going to put a layer in there about which sectors we're interested in and how we're going to go. And then we can start listing out what potential projects there are, and then hopefully go and win those projects, do the project, and then analyse that project and see how that can then be replicated or scaled into other similar companies.
I agree. And I know you're with your friends. I just wanted to take last 1 minute here. I think next week, I think, will be very important for us because we have now Simon lined up, Simon Nicholson, right? What do you think? He's okay, right? So he's a very nice, approachable guy. He can definitely complement us. I think we need to put a structure, obviously, with Deepak and also with you, which is really, because Simon can actually be that extra hand for us on the sales and operations, right? Like instead of Ian, right?
Yeah.
And we need to look at the structure, how best we can able to put, because Simon also has a company in the US, in the UK, right? He's a CEO for it, and also he's got a lot of connections there. We'll have to look at how when we do that with him. Yeah. And the next one is that obviously Tassos will be a little bit later because he's really on our side. There's nothing much. It's on that.
He's quite easy. He runs research projects and knows how to raise money for those research projects and stuff. So that's clear. Simon certainly, if he's got sales connections. Remember, he's very much in the SME market. He's very much in a very very tight area, but maybe operationally is good. And then obviously you've got to think about how you're going to use Ian. My feeling with Ian is I think he's out there doing a lot of things. Whether he can give the dedication of time, without a high salary is the question for him.
You know what? I have to tell you this because you're the team. At the end, Deepak did come back to me this afternoon about him when I was on the call. He said, he also had the same feeling that actually the way he's writing the emails and everything, he doesn't, if he's in that capacity of, VP of sales or something, right? I think he doesn't look like very professional. That is his initial feeling. He didn't even speak to him yet. And he's only seeing the emails. And actually there is a call due with him and also with Ian, basically to talk about, at the end of the day, it's 4 weeks is a long time, right? And Simon also is saying, obviously he doesn't feel a conflict of interest that obviously he knows Ian and things. So he also said, if he's not doing anything, what can you do about it? You have to do your business, right? And he's got a position maybe later, or maybe still he can act as, still advisor time to time. But I think on the sales side, I think he's not showing any, he's always as number two. He's always the last priority for us. That is not what, it's tough, right? And as you can imagine, obviously you were there when I wanted, right? You were there and also Deepak is there and everyone is there, but we cannot wait for that long sometimes, right? And although I've been very transparent to Ian also, you can also come with the same terms like, with any advisor, but actually, if the guy is not committed, what can you do?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily he's not committed. I suspect he's got, other opportunities which he's out there doing. I have to be honest with you, when I ask him quite a lot of questions about how he sees the business going, I get obviously quite a lot of noise from him, but there's nothing very specific, and so all I'm saying is, I'm not saying that if we didn't have him in a room for a long time and had a long chat, we could work something out, but he seems to be a little bit skim across the surface rather than actually get down and deliver stuff, do you know what I mean? So let's see how it goes. What we must never do is upset anyone, because there's no point in doing any of that sort of stuff. But ultimately, the team will find itself, and then you've got to find out how it all comes together and how it all fits. Do you know what I mean? That's the key. For me, it's always the shape. I'm always looking for the shape of the business, the shape of how it's going. Is that the right way of selling the business? Is that making us stand alone? And I think that, and when we then launch products, it's the same thing. What makes that product stand alone? What makes that product different to anybody else's? That's been my life. That's all I ever do.
No, that's really great as well. That's what I think. You are really contributing a lot, right? I get it.
Yeah.
I think
that's good.
With Ian, I will let the conversation with Deepak the first, and then probably we can discuss about it later, right? Yeah. And of course, then I think with Orest also, Deepak is looking at right now. And
by the way, I thought Orest was brilliant today. Jesus, I thought he was brilliant. He's been thinking about all our conversations. In that conversation for Orest today was a massive jump forward in thinking. Yeah.
Yes. I think definitely I didn't expect it. I mean, he just come up.
That was amazing.
He sometimes comes up with that kind of things, here and then out of the blue.
He's a think tank. That was amazing. I went, wow, well done, Orest. That's very great, cool.
Yeah, I see. That was good. I think just on that lines of his engagement, I think he's not too far what we are thinking about. Even
no, but what's happening is the dynamics between the three of us and somebody else, because of the way we're talking and what we don't realise. You're the same. We're all talking in a direction, and it's all come about by just trying to find a solution through it all. So I think that that's very valuable.
No, I think
he was definitely on brand today. Oh, what a good boy. Could have said it better myself. It was brilliant.
No, it was really good. I think he just gives his letter. I think coming back to the topic of the compensation, I think that's still on the table. Deepak also said, it's not too far from what you and I have thought. If the 60K is of his expectation is tough, we're not in a position to pay that. Maybe let's do a compromise. That Deepak said. I didn't say anything. He said to him that, maybe let's look at like 40 or 45. And then we can actually tell him that, we'll underwrite it, which means that he will able to get something as soon as we get some kind of commission, the business running on, so that he doesn't need to left out from maybe an example from May or June, that, that the difference will be paid out to him.
Yeah.
And then kind of in between. And also we look at the stock options as well, about what is that we prepared to adjust it.
I think that's right. I think Deepak's, I think we're all I think you, me and Deepak are on the same page with him. I think that's right. And we're not trying to be difficult. We're not trying to stop him from, earning good money. But what we are saying is it's a startup business and we need to be careful. That's all we're saying.
And exactly. I think the reason why I put you in the same call as Deepak is that because I value your opinion. At the same time, it's important for you also to know what's going on, right?
Yeah,
Because that's exactly what I know, that I could have gone to deeper, but I think that's important for me as well. I think that's happening, which is good. Thank you again, Neil, for that. And I think things are really shaping up well. We'll talk about, and also Swati.
No, I think this week's gone well. Actually, it's good. It's gone well. It's been a good start. We've got a good team of people there. I think you've done a great job, by the way, putting everybody together. And I like your style and the way you work, and you're positive. There's some very, very clever people around, and it's just now really a question of getting it together and then getting the tech team to deliver it. But I think, I was thinking about today, let's say we got 3 or 4 projects in different sectors all at one go. We could easily source that through India and other places in order to deliver it.
The tech team.
With you and Oris being in the middle. And then if necessary, you then get another technical guy in to do it, or we freelance someone in while we're doing those products and just basically make money on it.
Exactly.
Then we have to analyze what we've done in each of those sectors and then look at how much of the core of that product we can then take into either other companies or develop other products, or take it into another sector, but with the same product without having to start from scratch.
Agree. Yeah? We need to always look at where is that this product not a service, right?
Yeah. And then the other thing we have to look at is the IP on what's unique about it. So if we take the risk analysis that we've done for the product at the moment, LiveCore, is you've got a core product there. So let's IP that, and then let's see where else we can take that to. Do you know what I mean? So it belongs to us, because that's the value that we'll get in a sale or a float. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think I also, one fundamental thing what you asked me to do last time is that do not do the piecemeal thing, right? Like here 200,000, 300,000. I think let's get this proper next week, at least a thought process of how do we position the business, right? At what value, and then we go after this investment, right? Whether we raise $1 million or whether we raise, $500,000, whatever. Otherwise,
but what we'll do is we'll define why we want it. And if we go for $1 million, it might be that we're going to do our B2C platform.
Yes.
And we've identified the cost of what we want, but almost set that up as a separate company, and if necessary, make it a separate company. But it's better to have value in everything. But what we mustn't become is thin on the ground. But we'll work together on that. So
next week, I think let's focus on that one as well. I think on that way, and I think everything is good, Daniel. Thank you again. I think team is really shaping up well. I think we need to focus now on the sales, right, to close 1 or 2 things very quickly.
Yeah.
I think this is where people like Simon, maybe if you know someone, I think keep talking to them, and we can be able to see something.
We'd be lovely if we could get Mo Finance up and running, do the demo, and then move to fees, and also HSBC. I was going to say Spain, India. That would be good as well.
You know what? That guy Steve, I told you, right? Sorry, I just he changed his body language. He's changed his voice completely. The email which I sent to you, right? That was completely different when I spoke to you that 2 days ago, right? We had a conversation day before yesterday and also today. He was kind of saying, okay, you know what, let's do it together, right? And he also put up a slide together, like, you and I, not you and I, companies together, why we are together. And he see the value, because Alexander was in a call also that day. He said, you know what, he's the guy in HSBC for 15 years, right? He knows what the company wants, right? He see the value. That we are not underdogs here anymore, that we have a place in our business. Obviously, what we value, what we do.
Yes.
I can walk away from the deal if you're not respected. But at the same time, we need to respect our position and respect our people, what we can bring in, right? Together, let's win it. I think he got the message now, and we're doing a presentation today. You know what? Let me get the presentation also to you, but it's too much detail. And we have a call with HSBC on Monday.
Let me look at those things, because they're great. And I have to say, I think Mo Finance are a good partner as well. And I like the work they put in for you. I think we can sharpen it up a little bit, but slowly but surely, we've got a narration going out there from all of us, and every time you meet and we talk, they will talk in the same way. So we have to keep on thinking all the time. Yeah.
Yes.
Now listen, have a fantastic weekend.
Yes. Thank you.
I think it's been an 8 out of 10 week, actually, because I think you've done well to get these things set up. We've got a rhythm going there. We will have weeks where they'll be on holiday and there won't be people in, but actually, funny enough, because it's a cloud industry, if you're on holiday or with your mates at a swimming pool down in Petersfield, you can still come on for an hour. I mean, it's not a problem. So I think actually we should meet all the time. I think there should be never a problem with it.
I agree.
All right.
Neil, thank you very much for this. Did you get the email sorted out? No, right?
Now, yes, the answer to that is yes, I did get it sorted. So I went through onto Apple. I got through to where I was. I put the email in, so all was good. Guess what? They then send a code to the email, which of course isn't set up. So I'm still going to need to go through with it on Monday, but let's do it on Monday.
Yeah, no. I agree. Let's speak.
I went to the trouble of doing it after I spoke to you. Got all the way through.
No. Let's do Monday whenever it works for you. I think keep that way.
Of course, I couldn't get on the code because I've got to put it onto the platform. It doesn't matter.
No, it's fine. And also on Monday we have just a brief catch up with Italy because this guy said they have 3 more clients lined up. And I think it's really good to keep the momentum up. That guy, it's not Chiro. It's actually the president of the company who is actually head of sales, right? He look after sales actually. We speak to him directly. I kept 15 minutes in the afternoon. Just keep the momentum, right? They're busy. We are also busy. At least, once a week, we just talk about, what's happening, how do we support.
Without a doubt, those guys they'll lead us to money because, even if we only have a licensing agreement of 30 grand to go, I think we should go higher, but let's see. That's 90,000. That's fine. That's good money. Let's keep going.
I kept you in the emails as well. You saw that emails, what he's
saying.
Yeah,
I do. I read them. I promise you I do because as you know, I'm always on my mail. So keep sending it. It's good. But it's exciting. There's lots of stuff coming through. It's a new era. Everybody's very enthusiastic. Some of the people today were saying, "Look, I don't know this area, but I think it's an area I need to be in." And I think that's the point. I think we're into a new era.
And it's really good. And also, we have something from Italy. And also today, the good news is that Geos, the company, have got 5 more years of MSA with HSBC. I think at least 3 years. They've been with HSBC for 8 years. Now they get extra 3 more years, which is great for us because they're actually taking us to HSBC, right?
Yeah.
So HSBC won't question us anymore because obviously we are with them, and also legally, and also they will be taking a part of our business, like 1% of the business. I don't mind. They will be in the same. They will give the value for us. I told you last time, right? They will put like 100,000.
No, I think it's absolutely fine because that's that is the big international bank we want, and it's a credibility call, and therefore that then enables us to go and do other stuff. So
things are going well.
The one that will be quite hard is when we go into the Italian one. What will happen with the Italian one, which we had the meeting for last week, is he will really test whether we can search as quickly the companies that they have on their books.
There is an answer for it. We have actually found out a different API, and actually that API actually have that company what they talked about, Pentalite, and also that Neosperience. I think they have articles coming in.
I saw the email. In fact, I clicked on the email and went straight to the news source. Actually, I saw that.
It's coming through, and I think we just make sure that we have a backup. It's coming in the back end. I'll show you Monday or something. We're not ignoring that. I'm on it.
No, it's good because that's exciting, and also the learning of that will also have that application when we go to other countries. Because whilst you can take the big international banks, there's a lot of smaller banks that we can bring into this area. Yeah, so if we can learn from Italy, then it will be good. And on that basis, my friend, I'm going to
enjoy your sunny weekend, and also wherever you are, enjoy the
party tomorrow night, friends. Then I'm seeing relations on Sunday and Monday, but don't worry, I'm around. I'll still be talking to you.
No, enjoy. And it seems like you're enjoying the COVID-19 restrictions, kind of.